it.
Yeah. Well, couldn't leave well enough alone. Found another Honda. You know, I've got quite a few of these now. And this is Mike. He's a bit of a scooter expert. You've driven scooters all over the world. So we've got ourselves a $100 scooter held together with tuck tape, hopes and dreams. And it has a losing power condition and it's missing a battery. And someone's butchered the electrical system inside. And there seems to be a leak at the bottom. We have our work cut out for us, but first things first, we're gonna clean it, strip it, find out what's going on. Maybe try and turn the engine over. And this episode is sponsored by Smacko. So Smacko makes these cool auxiliary tanks. They come from the world of compressed air rifles and guns and paintball, stuff like that. And they're able to use the same kind of technology to now get into scuba stuff. So it's pretty exciting. I do a lot of solo diving. So I'm especially interested in having a auxiliary tank as a backup for myself. Now this is the smallest compressor I have ever seen. This compressor is capable of 3,000 PSI and it is very small. We'll take the fill nozzle that has a quick release, connect it up to the tank. It's got a little inline filter. This is a really small one. Tighten it down on the bleed valve, switch it over to AC. Still not pumping yet. That's just cooling fans. That's how loud this thing is. Now, there we go. Press the on button. Now we're pumping. Bleed valve is off, and we're looking good. We're starting to climb up in the PSI. It's not exactly a quiet system. The cooling fans are incredibly loud. That being said, there's not much for vibration, just a little bit of thumping. All right, so I got our little Smacko tank filled up. First of all, really love the size and the form factor. Now, I just want to compare. This is one of the tanks I use for my diving. You can see, quite a lot bigger. They're both made of aluminum. They're both quite thick-walled. They're both running the same PSI. The gear that I have to climb into the water with and wear is quite heavy. So not only do I have the tank, which is large, but I also have this octopus. It has redundant backup breathers. It has a gauge just for my pressures and my time. It also has one to fill up my BCD. This is my buoyancy control device. I've got none of that over here on this one. All I have is a little gauge for the full pressure, and then on the lower pressure side, I've got one regulator, a second stage regulator. So I filled it up, popped it off, and yeah, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. They sent out this little carrying pouch. Slide the bad boy in there. Got it in. All of this is adjustable, so I'll just throw this on. Nice and light. It's like less weight than an average school backpack. Now I'm going to compare that with my other setup. Nice. Smells like a new car. Just so many straps, and I am not kidding. This setup here weighs about 120 pounds. I am a big man. I'm 6'6", but even with that, it is very tiresome to wear this setup. And when I go and try and get out of the water, I have flat out sunk chunks of dock or dinghies trying to climb out of the water. It's just a lot. Now, this will give me quite a lot of time underwater depending on the depth I go to, and this is a full scuba setup, so it's a little bit more involved, but a lot of the time I don't need all of this. Diving to just recover a cell phone, this is plenty air to get that done. In fact, I'll probably only go through half of this tank, go retrieve somebody's cell phone they've dropped at the floatplane dock. Today we're gonna go diving with both of these. I'll try this system and I'll try my big one and compare the two for you. I'm also cold water diving, so it's like very cold water, and as a result I have to wear quite a thick wetsuit. This is a 7mm thick wetsuit. I am melting in here. This tank is neutrally buoyant, so along with your suit, it's going to add some buoyancy. So you need to compensate with some more weights on it. today we're not going to be relying just on this because I have more diving to do and I like to be a little bit safer. First time trying out new equipment on the Big Blue. So we're going to tie this up tight. I'm going to strap it to my chest as a backup tank. Another purpose of this small setup would be as a backup tank. And yeah, we'll see if we can do the zinc prop change with just the air in this tank. Should be plenty, but we'll know in a second. Air I still have. We're still in the green. Looks like we're at half a tank now, so we could do this twice. On one tank, that's not bad. I think I've been underwater now for about 5 minutes, so safe to say at the surface you're getting 10-12 minutes. That's a pretty good number. That's not so bad, and as an auxiliary tank, that's very good. So you could do some small dives at the surface, but keep in mind, as you go into deeper and deeper water, that air will last less and less long. So probably not a great tank to take below 40 feet. I wouldn't recommend that, but for surface stuff or for doing work on your boat, this is absolutely perfect. And considering you can get yourself a pump that will refill, the compressor that will refill this tank in very few minutes off of a 12-volt source, that's amazing. So yeah, could highly recommend this for a lot of sailors. I think it'd probably fit the bill just perfectly. You don't have to invest in a giant scuba tank and scuba setup and a whole scuba compressor. It's a lot cheaper, a lot easier, and you could still do things like clean your boat quickly and give yourself some new zincs, stuff like that. So not a bad outfit. Plus, you know, go check out the bottom, see what's there. Go pick up a cell phone, make sure you don't drop it. Here you go.
Hold on tight. Hold on tight.
All right, and that's it. And we're ready to dive again. That took like, I think 18 minutes or something like that to fill that tank. And we're good to go for another quick 5-10 minute dive. It's, yeah, it all depends on depth, of course, but, and what your breathing is like, but that is really impressive. We'll be showing more of the Smacko pump later on. I'm going to try and pump up a larger tank with it, see if it overheats, just so that you guys know before you buy one whether or not it's capable of doing so. But it's certainly more than capable of handling its small tank, and it does it nice and quick. The 12-volt feature I found to be just about the exact same speed. It might have been a tad slower, but it's hard for me to gauge that without a timer, and I forgot to time it. So as far as I'm concerned, 12-volt, 110, low impact, tiny little compressor with a low impact, tiny little tank. Nothing wrong with any of that. Check them out. Link is in the description. And yeah, let's go diving.
This thing's just buggered up the teeth in it. We can pop this off easy.
Okay.
And take this, open this up so we can see
what's going on in
what
there.
the ratchet's doing. If it's got,
that's our air filter box, right?
Yeah, that's
Might as well
right.
pop that open and ensure that it actually has the air filter, seeing as one came in the storage compartment.
Is that a bolts coming in from the back end?
It's into the engine block. I think that's just a guide. Hey, buddy. So there's our Kickstarter off, and it was jammed up. There's the crankshaft to the engine. Stuck a little bit as I turned it for the first time, but now it's moving quite freely. There's our CVT, which is looking pretty gross. We should probably give that a clean before we put it all back together. And now we're going to pull a spark plug, shoot a little bit of oil down into the cylinder, and we'll test for spark while we're there, and then turn it over and see what happens. We got a wet spark plug with bad gas.
Should we drain the gas tank and just...
I don't know, like it doesn't look like, it didn't smell bad when I popped the tank. It might be a fresh bit, so let's just see if we got spark out of this thing and then go from there. So I got the drill on the crankshaft. We got oil down the spark plug hole.
You know, get the spark.
Well, we have to turn the ignition on. That was a fuel pump coming on, I think. So we just checked the resistance on our coil. It's looking good, but we're not getting a power signal down the signal wire, which leads me to believe that even though we weren't getting spark, the spark plug might still be good. So we're gonna give it a clean up and let it sit for now and trace down this electrical issue. I'm guessing it has something to do with this. Okay, so we think that the variable voltage power supply is causing some issues. We just plugged this old car battery into it and we're gonna just turn it over. We got some spark now. So it turned out we couldn't do spark just off of turning the engine over. It wouldn't do it because this thing has a little computer at the back and you got to check all the boxes. The computer is unhappy otherwise. So let's check some boxes and let's see if it fires. Let's fire this beast up.
See, my question now, whether
Yeah, look at this, man.
all plugged up.
I've never seen this color inside of a float bowl before.
Dark yellow or something?
No, it's fucking blue. It's like somebody put two-stroke oil into the gas thinking it was a two-stroke. Weird, eh? Anyway, we'll clean out all the jets. We'll get this all cleaned up and that should get it to fire up. Look at that. Thing was jammed in sideways. Look how dirty it is.
Fucked up looking too.
Yeah, and somebody jammed it in sideways. I didn't close it up properly. See if I can rescue it. Like honestly, that leak right there in that diaphragm could be enough
To make it
for that power loss thing that the guy was talking about. He's like, oh, it's rolling down the road and we're losing power and it get worse and worse. I'm like, there's a giant leak in the diaphragm and yeah. One last little... What size is that? Is that cute? What was that? Press it again? Not bad. So I'm going to just check my clearances again at different points of this engine just to ensure that I haven't missed TDC. Not lost my mind. It's never sealing on the intake valve.
Okay.
So we're stuck at air moving in and out of the intake valve. No bueno, no bang bang. Let's take it out. Let's shave down this shim a bit, put it back in and see if we can get that 4,000ths.
Okay, give it a shot.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. So the other way you can kind of tell is we're turning the engine over and wiggling this rocker arm the whole time. And it's never loose.
When it gets that top dead center, it should be loose enough that it's got a
exactly.
clearance.
So like you can feel it on the exhaust one. It's got some play.
Yeah.
And you can pop it and you can slide it down its little bearing so you can quickly change that. But I can't do that with this one. So what we're gonna do then is we're going to get some sandpaper. We're gonna try and be real straight edged about this. We're gonna pop this guy out. We're gonna go to the bench. We're gonna scrape off a thou. We're gonna pop it back in and see if it can get it working. Now the goal is 4 thousandths of clearance, so we do have a margin of error here, but we gotta do it and do it right. So let me go and twist it for you. You tell me what you feel.
Now it's pushing down. Now that's up. Okay, push it down again. Now it's down. Now it's now let's think. It's sucking its fuel in there, right?
Yeah.
Now it's coming back up, right? Okay, stop. Comes off of there pretty easy.
I'm gonna cover this side in marker so that I can see if I'm sanding it unevenly. All right, we got a piece of emery cloth here. I'm just gonna scrape it back and forth. It's a good look. And I'm gonna turn it 180 degrees. Well, it's not going to be a quick process. Now, I've sanded a little bit off of this. We're going to go pop it back in there and do the feeler gauge and see where we're at. We took these 2 sharpening stones onto their coarsest, jammed the shim between them, and then we just grind. We got 1 thousandth so far, so we got to make it all the way up to 4 thousandths. I feel like a caveman banging 2 rocks together. These are some pretty rough sharpening stones. Don't feel... Plus, I'm pretty sure they're berries anyway. I do like ruining berry stools. So, 1 is clear, 2 is clear. Let's see, for 3. We'll just get in, but there's some grabbing. Okay, so we're at 3 thousandths. See if the 4 won't go in at all, then we know where we're at. Maybe the 4 goes in. That'd be nice. No, 4 is not going in. It looks thinner to me. We're gonna, now that this is ground, this is the last time, I'm gonna slot this in, check the valve clearance. Look at that, it goes into place. Oh yeah, that feels good. A little bit of jiggle wiggle. Hell yeah. All right, 4 thousandths. Oh yeah, there it goes. And grabs. That's 4, baby. That's how they say stock valve clearance.
Real many of them. Just poke them in and I'll twist them.
All right, ladies, now's the moment of Mike, you gonna wish us luck?
No.
Go for it. tell from all the oil spray, it is starting. We got to spray a fair bit of carb cleaner down the intake to get it to start. And it would run and it would rev, but it wouldn't idle. We'll be back tomorrow. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's day 2. Feeling confident, feeling good. A few things that we forgot to do last night that led to our failure. First of all, this thing has, it's not like an electric choke because it doesn't actually choke, it just squirts extra fuel down. But the electric choke, I forgot to take it out and clean it because I didn't know anything about it. They have a different word for it, I don't know what. And then we cleared out the gas tank again because my outboard gas was suspect. So cleared it out, cleaned out the tubes, cleaned the carburetor again. There was more gunk in it this time. And if this thing doesn't start running soon, it might be that I have to clean it again. Come on, baby. By the way, you're not truly a scooter boy until you're trying to kickstart one in sandals. Well, put that air box back on and that produced the pressure that the carburetor needs to be happy. It's still a little sluggish, so we still got a little bit to track it down. And I still have to buy a battery and put it all back together. We're almost there, Mike.
Good.
Okay, well, it worked. There you go, 3 kicks, and she's alive. Honey, do you wanna go for a ride? You wanna go for a ride? Up, up. Come on up. Good girl. Oh yeah, you're ready for scooter time. Sit down. All right, we're on day 3. Now got a functioning scooter, but there's a lot of loose plastic and some cosmetic stuff. It also could just use a clean. I thought all of this was kind of crummy, but it turns out it's just this plastic piece here. So what we're going to do is repair and or make new these little mounts. So this thing had 4 of them. It currently has 1 and a loose headlight. I also got to go dig through my bolts to find a bunch of bolts that are missing in this and replace them as well. But then we'll have a solid little scooter.
It's an adventure world that we are creating, using our brain to get any way we can. So we tell these stories.
All right, and there we go. We had JB Weld holding up 6 brackets inside of that front cowling from a front impact. We had to realign the handlebars. Tires still got plenty of life in them. We've cleaned up the plastics over here. The black plastic on here and on the case, we took a heat gun to, so it's come out nice and black again. Glued in a few things that were popping off. And there we go. $100 scooter. Let's go take it for a ride.